Box to another exciting installment of Seminole Geometry. This is Mr. Tipton again. Today we're going to be talking about Chapter 1-5 or 1.5 from the geometry books. Our goals today are going to be to determine if lines are parallel, perpendicular, or neither, to be able to find the slope of a line, and to be able to create equations of parallel and perpendicular lines. So this is really exciting stuff here. Let's look at this first part here. So we want to find the slope of a line. Now the slope formula in lines is y2 minus y1, meaning your second y coordinate minus your first, over your x2 or your second x coordinate minus x1, your first x coordinate. A lot of times you hear this described as rise over run. Another important thing about slope is always used with a symbol of m equals the slope. That's the symbol we're going to use, is m. So if we look over at these two lines over here, we're going to start with this one up top. So we have 2 points that are connected by a line, and we want to use, first of all, we want to find where these 2 points are located. Now I've already done that for you. This first point here is located at, start at the origin, I went back 2, that's where I get the -2 from, and I went up 9, that's where I get the 9. So -2, I went backwards, up, I went positive 9. The second point was located from the origin, I went backwards 7, so that's a -7, up to positive 2. This was my first point, so I call that x1, y1. This was my second point, so I call that x2, y2. Really doesn't matter too much. So if I now go ahead and plug these in to, let's see, I'll plug these into my formula. All right, so here I've written out my formula. Y2 was 2, so I put that here, minus y1, which was 9, so 2 minus 9. And then on the bottom, x2, which was -7, minus x1, which was -2. So we're subtracting -2. We'll get to that in a second. So I just do the math. 2 minus 9 is -7. And on the bottom, we have -7 minus -2 is really like adding 2. If you get rid of a negative number, you're really adding. So we have -7 plus 2 is going to leave us with -5. Now something you'll notice here is that both of these are negative. When you have a negative over a negative, it really equals a positive. So our real answer is going to be 7 over 5. That's going to be the slope of our line. A couple things to talk about here. This is a positive line. I know that just by looking at it. From left to right, it's going up. So if it goes up, that means it's positive. You should have a positive slope. I ended up with a positive slope. Let me show you a much, much, much quicker way to do this. Take your 2 points and just count. Remember, the number on top is your positive negative. So I start here. Do I go up or down to get to there? Well, I go up. I went up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Notice 7 is on top. Then from that point, I went up 7, and I went over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 is the number that goes on the bottom. So let's look at this next example and see if we can find the slope of this without having to use the slope formula. So first of all, my slope is going to be negative. I already know that because the line is going downward. Start here. Did I go up or down? I went down 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's my top number. That's how much I went up or down. And then from there I went down 1, 2, 3, 4, and I went over 1, 2. So my slope would be -4 over 2. Now anytime you have a situation where you can reduce that fraction, we should. 4 can be divided by 2. 4 divided by 2 is -2. So my real slope of this line is going to equal -2. Let's see if we can find this one. First of all, we're going down, so I know it's going to be a negative slope. I went down 1, 2, 3, so that's the number that goes on top. And I went over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Again, we have a situation where these can be reduced. 3 and 9 have a common factor of 3, so we want to divide both of these by 3, giving us our real slope is, don't forget the negative, -1 over 3. That's my slope. So there's how you find slope. You can use the formula or you can discount. All right, we have two forms of a line. We have what we call slope-intercept form, where we have y equals m, which is the slope, times x plus b. B, notice, b is the y-intercept. It's where your line crosses the y-axis. So here we have equation y equals 3 being the slope, times x plus 5, 5 being our intercept. We also have another form of the line called the point-slope form. It's written a little different. There's no math really involved in these. You just plug in numbers. It's any general y minus your y point. So whatever your y point is, equals the slope, whatever that happens to be, times x minus your x coordinate. So if we look at this line, we see y minus 4. Well, look where my point was. If it's y minus 4, my point was actually at positive 4 for the y. Equals 2 times x plus 3. Now notice how this changed. It went from x minus my x coordinate to x plus 3. So what must have happened there? Well, it happens that x1 is actually a negative number. So it was x minus negative 3, which really turned it into positive 3. A lot of people make mistakes on these because they'll say, oh, it's located at positive 3, negative 4. No, it should be a minus sign there in that. So if it changes to a plus sign, that means the number was a negative number. And then the slope of that line is just the number 2. It means we went up 2 and over how many? Well, let's think about that. All the whole numbers can be written as fractions. So if your slope is a whole number like 2, you just put a 1 underneath there. Or you could just leave it 2. But that means we go up 2 and over 1. Here's this same equation from the last slide. Y equals 3x plus 5. We want to be able to graph this. 5 is our y-intercept. It's positive. That's where this line crosses the y-axis. So positive 5. I want to find positive 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I put a point right there. That's my first point. Now I use the slope to find my next point. Well, it's just 3. That doesn't help me. However, if we think about it, remember what number is underneath all whole numbers? It's a 1. So my slope's going to tell me how to make this line. From this point, it's positive. So I go up 1, 2, 3, and then the number on the bottom is the x value, and I go over 1. Always go over to the right. And then I just connect these 2 points with a line like that. And there, that line has been graphed. That is the graph of that line. The y-intercept is 5. Then we went up 1, 2, 3, and over 1. There's the line. Now, if you had made a mistake and you had accidentally, instead of going right 1, you had done this. If I went up 1, 2, 3, and backwards 1 on accident, look at this line. That has a negative slope. I can tell right away that that's the wrong answer. This is positive, so my line should be appearing to go up. However, in this case, I made a line that went down, so I know that I made a mistake there. Do not do that. Let's go back. All right, so we graphed that incorrectly. Let me go back and graph this correctly for you. So again, here we want to go up 1, 2, 3, and over to the right 1. There's that positive slope that I was looking for. And then I just connect those 2 points with a line. So there we have it. Now we scroll down. We see the same equation that we saw on the last page, except this is in point-slope form. So the 2 things we need to find are this. We need to be able to find out what the slope is, and we need to be able to pick out where our point is going to be located. So first of all, the slope is easy. The formula for point-slope form is as follows. And there's our formula. Y minus my y-coordinate equals the slope times x minus my x-coordinate. So hopefully you know already what the slope is going to be. The number that took the place of m is 2. So our slope is 2. And our point is going to be located at, well, let's look here. What took the place of our y-coordinate, y1? Well, that's a 4. It should be y minus our y-coordinate. It's y minus 4. So that means our y-coordinate is a 4. What took the place of the x-coordinate? Over here we have x plus 3. It's supposed to be x minus my x-coordinate. It changed to x plus my x-coordinate. That means that this must have been at negative 3. X minus negative 3 turns into a positive 3. So at negative 3. This is all I need to be able to graph this. Again, keep in mind that the slope, if it's a whole number, there's always a 1 underneath it. You should already know this is a positive line. It's going to be going up. But instead of starting at the y-intercept, I want to start at this point. So I need to graph this point. Negative 3, 4. I go backwards, 1, 2, 3, because x was negative, and I go up 1, 2, 3, 4. There's the first point of my graph, of my line. Now I use the slope. It's positive. So from here, I go up 1, 2, and over just 1. There is the other point. All you need to create a line is 2 points. So there, I connect those, and my line has been created. Now I should have arrows on the end there showing that it's a line, but that's how you graph it. Pick out the point from your equation, and use the slope after you pick it out. Graph the point, then use the slope, go up 2 and over 1. Parallel lines have the same slope. So as we look at this, we see here are 2 lines. They're written in slope-intercept form. We have y equals 2x plus 6. Remember, the form of this line is y equals mx plus b. M is the number, or the slope is the number right next to the x. So our slope in this line is 2. Our slope in this line is 2. So these 2 lines are parallel. Let's look at the next one. Are these lines parallel? Well, our slope here is 2 over 3. Our slope here is 6 over 9. So I want to say, hey, they're not parallel to each other. However, what should we do here when we have 6 and 9? They have a common denominator. So really, we want to reduce that fraction, and they end up having the same slope. 6 over 9 reduces to 2/3. So those, again, are parallel. So we look over here. Okay, this seems easy. Our slope here is 1/2. Our slope here is 1/2, so they're going to be, oh, wait. There we have a negative number. It's a negative slope. This is positive. They do not have the same slope. Just because the numbers are the same, they both have to be positive or they both have to be negative. So not parallel. Hopefully you see the difference. Now as we look here, perpendicular lines are a little different. They have opposite reciprocal slopes. Opposite means that one is positive and one is negative. One of the slopes is positive, one's going to be negative. Reciprocal means that they are flip-flopped, meaning 2/3 and 3 over 2 are reciprocals. You just take them and flip around the order. So we look at these equations here. This equation is actually in y equals mx plus b form, or slope-intercept form. But the slope is right there. The slope of that first line equals 1/2. Oops. We look at the second line. It's in point slope form, which is like this, but still that slope is right there. It's the number that's outside the parentheses in front of the x. So the slope of that line equals -2. So let's look at these two numbers. Are they opposite first of all? Yes. This is positive, that's negative. That's what we're looking for. Are they reciprocals? Well, this is 1 over 2, and that's just 2. But remember, what's underneath all whole numbers is a 1. So this slope is 1 over 2. This slope is 2 over 1. That one's positive. That one's negative. So these 2 lines are perpendicular, which means they intersect at right angles. Now we want to write an equation of a line. So they've given us the slope. They've given us the y-intercept. I probably want to use, then, slope-intercept form. So let's look at this. Here's my slope. Here's my y-intercept. All I have to do is plug in the numbers. So y equals the slope, -2, times x. Oops, sorry. The slope, which is 4/5 times x, plus -2, or I could just put -2. The next one, write the equation of the line with slope 4 that goes through this point. If there's a point in there and a slope, we want to use point slope form. Here's your point slope formula. So now we just need to take these numbers and plug them in. So I do y minus my y coordinate. It's not the 5, it's the -1. And y minus -1 really turns into y plus 1. Equals the slope, which is 4, times x minus my x coordinate, which is 5. Right there is the equation of that line. It's in point slope form because they gave me the point and they gave me the slope. Write an equation of a line that is parallel to this line. Parallel lines have the same slope. So I'm just going to make one up. I'm going to say y equals 3/4 x, that's my slope, has to be the same, minus 3. Now I have to change this last number or else they would be exactly the same line, which means they wouldn't be parallel. But as long as they have the same slope, they're parallel. Here I want to write an equation of a line that's parallel to y equals 4x minus 2, but it goes through this point. We're going to use point slope formula. So y minus my y coordinate, which is 1, equals the slope. I want it to be the same because I want it to be parallel. The slope is 4 times x minus my x coordinate, which was -3, so it turns into an x plus 3. Those are parallel. They have the same slope, 4 and 4. It just passes through that point, y and your x coordinate. Now let's look at the next slide. Let's write an equation of the line that is perpendicular to this line. So I'm just going to make one up. But remember, perpendicular means opposite reciprocal. The slope here is 3/4. So my slope is going to be negative since that one was positive. And I write the reciprocal, 4/3. And I'll just make up a number here at the end. It doesn't really matter. Plus 2. They just can't be the same. And then for this one, write an equation of the line that is perpendicular to this. Again, we're looking at that slope there. It's 4. I want my line, y minus 1 equals the slope. Now, I don't want it to be positive. I want it to be negative, and I want it to be the reciprocal of 4. Remember, there's a 1 underneath there. So what should I write to flip-flop that? Well, we're going to change that to, instead of 4/1, we change it to -1/4 x plus 3. So pretty much the same thing there, but see how we changed the slope of those lines. All right. I hope that that was enjoyable for you guys, not too difficult. If you need to go back and rewatch some parts, go ahead. Make sure that you are comprehending this. Also, we're going to have a little quiz after this one. Coach Josh Walker, his middle initial is L. So that's a quiz question there. Make sure you watch the whole thing. You guys have a wonderful day.